Ancient Greece, the impact of democracy. The origins of democracy go back thousands of years to the ancient Greek city-state of Athens. How was the form of democracy the ancient Greeks practiced different from the type used in the United States today? It's often said that when Americans go into the voting booth, they're exercising their democratic rights. In fact, casting ballots is the embodiment of democracy in action. That's because citizens are having a say in running their country, whether it's electing a new president or choosing someone to serve in Congress or speaking out on a matter of public policy. For the United States, this is a tried and true part of government. But democracy actually got its start thousands of years ago across the ocean in ancient Greece. Greece is the birthplace of democracy, the first spot on earth where a large group of people govern themselves. The very word democracy comes from Greek words that mean rule of the people. At the start of Greek civilization almost 3,000 years ago, Greeks living in independent city-states answered to rich landowners known as aristocrats who made and enforced the laws. Then, strong, no-nonsense leaders called tyrants became rulers of the city-states. Those who dared to oppose the government were punished. Finally, around 500 BC, people in the city-state of Athens welcomed a new kind of leader, a statesman who brought sweeping political changes with him. His name was Clisthenes. Under his direction, the citizens of Athens won the right to participate in their government. That meant they could take part in meetings, speak their mind, and vote on the creation of new laws. The early Athenians met in an assembly. Only adult male citizens over age 18 were allowed to take part. Women and slaves were left out. The men voted by a show of hands, and a simple majority determined the outcome. Athenian democracy reached its height under the leadership of Pericles, a statesman who helped run the government for about 30 years. Pericles made sure that important matters of state were left in the hands of the many and not of the few. That practice lasted for nearly 2 centuries, but eventually, the great age of Athenian democracy ended. Macedonians from the north invaded and conquered Athens, making it and its citizens part of the Macedonian Empire. But what the Athenians had started eventually helped to inspire our own form of government. The American political system is somewhat different from that of the ancient Greeks. The Greeks had a direct democracy because each eligible citizen voted directly for laws and candidates. But the United States is far too big and has too many citizens for that kind of system to work. Instead, America has what is called a representative democracy. The people elect officials to represent them in the government. In turn, these elected officials meet together to enact laws and policies. For instance, each state has representatives and senators who are chosen to serve in Congress. They're empowered to make decisions on behalf of the people. And they're expected to vote in the best interests of their constituents. Most times they do, but if they don't, well, they're liable to have trouble getting reelected. At the beginning of the 21st century, about 3/4 of the world's nations have full-fledged democracies. The ancient Greeks were the first to let the people represent themselves. That practice continues today.